Very nice. It's been a while since we've done
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I'm not even sure if I can talk without a script anymore. Might not be able to.
I'm doing pretty good. Are we okay, no, I think I actually have the number. This is gonna be number 45. This is Wano Report number 45.
Nice. We're just not gonna pretend like there wasn't like a huge gap this time, because I feel like we do this every time. We come like back for one Wano Report, and then we're like, oh, it's been a long while. Let's definitely do this. We're gonna do this more often. I'm just like, let's skip that part this time. Let's just pretend we do this weekly.
Alright, this is your weekly dose of the Wano Report. Episode 45. Don't check the date on the last one. Oh my god, it was so long ago. Don't ignore what I'm saying. It wasn't that long ago. Oh my god, it's actually so long ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, time flies, man. Crazy. Yes, we both hit, I think, 100k since the last time we did the Wano Report.
Yeah, big stuff. That's why we stopped doing the Wano Report. We became too big. We don't want to.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like the pressure of the fame just became too big.
Oh, we'd better give them.
It's the curse.
We'd better give them some content, or else they'll leave. We should talk about something.
That is a good point. Yes. I do want to talk about the new chapter. I literally read it like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, Ohara's in Japan.
Since it came out while I was sleeping. Yes, I'm in Japan, so like it just came out. And I would say before we jump into that though, like since we haven't talked in for so long about One Piece in general, what has been your... Where the last report was like last year.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's so. For being honest, it was last December. So yeah.
How were the last 6 months of One Piece for you?
Dude, it's been back and forth. I've liked some aspects a lot. I haven't enjoyed some aspects as much. It's been a lot back and forth. I think the highs have been really cool. I think there've been a lot of moments. What was the last chapter really that came out? Because I think I'll have a better gauge off of that. Like, I definitely enjoyed a lot of the rooftop moments that we've gotten. I think I definitely enjoyed...
I think it might have been 90, like I think because 1000 came out around New Year's, right? So I think that was after the last time.
So I think that I've definitely enjoyed a lot of the Kaido stuff that we've gotten so far. I think I've enjoyed a lot of the rooftop scenes that we got. I think I've really liked, even just recently, the Kinemon stuff that we've been getting. And I hope we get a little bit more out of Kinemon's death scene, but I'm not sure if we are. I think that...
I was thinking you were gonna say, I hope we get a bit more out of Kinemon, and I was like...
No, I hope we get a bit more out of his death. I think Kinemon's done with Kinemon. He's done more above and beyond what...
I don't think there's much...
Like, Kinemon, who would have thought...
There's not much
left. Who would have thought back in podcast that Kinemon would have been such a big part of the story? Definitely not me. So I think Kinemon, I've really enjoyed the ending aspects of his story. Yeah, I've enjoyed Kinemon stuff, Kaido stuff. I think everything on the roof I really liked. That's basically where I'm at. How about you?
Is there something where you're like, this has been something that I haven't enjoyed that much, or I wish would have been handled differently? Because you said like you've had like sort of mixed feelings about it. Like, what is like a part where you feel like I was not happy with that? That the raid didn't fail?
No, okay, it's not just that the raid didn't fail. I want everyone to understand why I want the raid to fail, okay? It's not just because I'm not just sitting here like, oh man, I would love it if like we got 200 more chapters of Wano and then we're here for like 6 more years. I'm not like a, what's the word? Is it a masochist? I'm not a masochist, all right? All I want...
Wait, you're not.
All I want is, I feel like I felt this way from the start of Act 3, and it hasn't really changed throughout Act 3, which is that I feel like the Straw Hats are coming into this without much of a storyline for them as individuals. So that's basically where I'm at with it. I feel like they don't have a lot of storylines for themselves as individuals. I think they're just kind of here, and they're doing the fights to kind of do the fights. But if I look back at older arcs, like Enies Lobby, obviously, but even something like Alabasta, or even like Arlong Park, those are kind of the ones that I like to compare them to, because those are the arcs in the past where we've kind of expected the Strahds to all get fights and everything like that, and there to be kind of a big climax. The motivations were much stronger there, I felt. I felt like the Strahds were much more involved in the story. Here, I feel like it's a little different in that we got the storylines for the Scabbards, but then it's the Straw Hats who are being swapped in to get, like, now it's really their time and they're getting the fights and such, but there's not a lot of story motivation behind the Straw Hats getting their slice of the pie, if that makes sense. So I think, for example, like this chapter, Nami beat Ulti, but if I compare to like Nami versus Khalifa or Nami versus Miss Doublefinger, there was a lot that Nami had been through throughout that arc before she got to that fight point, and that was all going into the fight. So during the Doublefinger fight, for example, Nami has all of these thoughts about Vivi and how she's doing this for Vivi and how it's time for her to step up and grow as a fighter and things like that. With Khalifa, it was very similar, except now it was for Robin. I think just the stakes were more expressed through the Straw Hats. So I think that's what I'm kind of hoping for more so. That's one of the reasons I want the raid to fail. It's not just like I'm not of the mentality that like, oh, if the raid doesn't fail, then I just hate this arc. If Oda can infuse some storylines more so for the Straw Hats a little bit, or get inside their heads a little bit, or kind of make it a little more personal for them, I suppose. That's really what I'm looking for.
Right.
But that's not to say I haven't been enjoying Wano, because, for example, sure, I didn't love this last chapter that much, but I really, really liked the last chapter. I really liked a lot of what's going on with Kaido. I have high hopes for Kaido and Luffy and everything like that. I think Zoro still has a really big role to play in Wano and everything like that. I liked Sanji's moments recently. But that's basically where I'm at. So you want to take the floor?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's interesting hearing that perspective, because to be fair, for me, especially since I've started, or basically not started, but stopped doing chapter reviews recently, I've been like a bit disconnected, I feel like, from the general discussion in the community. Also because recently I discovered this great add-on which basically hides your entire Twitter timeline, which has been the best thing I've done in my life.
You still tweet out every Monday like, hey, what's your favorite manga of the week?
Yeah. I still use Twitter. Yeah. I use Twitter a lot. I just don't like to get bombarded with shit on my timeline, so that's just blank.
Well, for the just
when I go on people's
just so you know, the vast majority of people are loving Wano. I think this is like the biggest wave of One Piece positivity overall I've seen in like years and years. Like everyone's loving Wano for the most part. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Well, for me, so like, as I said, like for me, that bubble, and also especially the last couple of weeks without the pressure, I think we talked about this like the other day when we were talking in person, without the pressure of like having to think about how to present a chapter and like what the community is going to say. Like, I've just read it, and I'm going to be honest, like, same as you, I think that Enies Lobby Water 7 is the greatest arc in One Piece, but I'm gonna say for me personally, Wano's getting really close, just in my personal, like, it's definitely already my second favorite arc, and depending on how it pans out, obviously, I think there's still like a lot going on, right, and a lot of open plot threads. The raid might fail, or it might not, but we're still gonna have to take down Kaido, and there's still like a lot of stuff gonna happen, so I don't know, for me, it's been really great. I've enjoyed it really much from the start. And these last couple of chapters, I understand how I guess, depending on your expectations also for the characters. I talked about this with JD the other day, but it's basically like, if you, obviously it depends on your own values and ideals of what you think you want to see, and like what, you know, for JD it's more like, we talked about it in the Sanji context, he was like, he wanted Sanji to be more of that James Bond person, right? And I'm like, well, I look at it differently. For me, the Sanji moments were great. And I think for you, it's more like, as you said, like, you prefer it if the Straw Hats have more personal stakes in that. But for me, again, I see it differently. Like, for me, I know what you mean, but I think those personal, like, I want the same thing, but I think for you, these stakes mean something different than it mean for me. Like, for me personally, I think the stakes are super there. Like, obviously, Wano in general, just from like, the Straw Hats need Wano to proceed in the story, right? And then the relationships with all the Scabbards and Momo and Kinemon, they've all been set up. And we've been in Wano for a while now. It's already the longest arc, I think. And I think there has a lot of things that have happened, and we've had a lot of like personal interactions. I think, for example, you mentioned Nami. I think like the storyline with Tama there is great. Like, they have a real relationship, and her connection to Big Mom and Zeus, and like, it's like already like her fight with Ulti has already been going on for quite a while now, and there has been a sort of like rival relationship there, and I think that goes for most of the Straw Hats. So it's like, I think for me personally, these Straw Hats moments are there now. I would also say I've been massively enjoying Kaido. I would really want to hear what you think about him, because I absolutely love, I think Oda has never before developed a villain so subtly between the lines, if you know what I mean. It's like never, like we haven't even gotten a flashback yet, but like basically we went into Wano basically with this idea. It's like this big brute, just like bad club kind of. And like I feel like with every sentence that man utters, it's like it makes him more interesting. It's like he seems to like really be thinking things through. Seems like it was always like Kaido being the brute and like Big Mom being the small strategist, but I feel like Kaido might just be as smart, if not smarter than Big Mom in some regards.
Yeah,
he's
not dumb.
He's
not dumb at all. He's right, maybe the smartest villain that we've ever had, to be honest, which is very different from what it seemed to be. And then we have like he has a daughter. We don't even like, is it his real daughter? We don't know. We're probably gonna find out soon, I guess, now that his fight with Yamato is coming up. But that fact in itself is already interesting, right? And then we have the fact that even though he like does all these horrible things, he still has like this really weird sense of honor, which also gives me similar vibes to Big Mom, where it's like this doesn't seem to be like the Doflamingo type of character that's kind of like narcissistic and like makes it about himself. It's like, or Blackbeard, I want to like fuck up the world kind of thing, be the strongest. It's more like you feel like with Kaido there's like he wants to like reach a certain goal, and like I'm not sure when he says he wants to start a big war, I feel like it's not just to like, you know, destroy everything. It feels like there's like he's thinking things through way too clearly to like just have like this, I mean, going on a rampage kind of even
plan.
Just the Joy Boy references he's making, like there's something there that he's trying to, he's got something bigger in mind, or he sees a bigger picture than the rest of us are seeing. I think that definitely makes him really excited.
One thing I've recently, let me know what you think about this, because I've recently thought about this. I've been thinking, because with the Joy Boy reference, it almost sounds like he is looking for Joy Boy, but I don't think he's looking for Joy Boy in the sense that I want to like make use of that. It's more like in the sense, it basically sounds to me like when he says he wants to start the biggest war the world has ever seen, it almost sounds like, while Big Mom wants to basically, has like this fucked up view of what Luffy's ultimately gonna do, like bring all the races together. It looks like Kaido has like this fucked up plan of like maybe overthrowing the world government, I feel. And you know, there has been like a lot of talk that he might have been an experiment by the world government and shit like that. So what do you think about that? Do you feel like he might just be like starting that war to like phase off with?
I don't know. I don't have good theories regarding Kaido and Joy Boy. One thing that I saw somebody mention that I think is interesting is, but it's more narrow than what you're talking about, but at least a little interesting, is that Kaido is looking for the next Joy Boy as a challenge or something along those lines. Like he wants him as an opponent. It would be a very limited. It would be very limited. I mean, like you could find good opponents anywhere in the world. I think like he could just walk up and take a swing at a Kaino if he wanted. But that is one thing that I saw.
Right.
Aside from that, I don't really know. Like, I don't know if it's possible that Kaido himself believes that he could be Joy Boy. But it sounds as though he does. Yeah, it sounds as though he came to the realization that he's not it, or he knows that he's not it, or something along those lines. Yeah. Besides that, I don't have a good theory.
It sounds like Kaido...
Yeah, no, I just don't have a good theory for whether or not... For what Kaido wants Joy Boy for. Or, like, if his goal is to take over the... Like... He wants to take over the world, right? So he expressed that with Big Mom. I think he said that during the, like, right before Act 2 ended or something like that. He said, like, we're going to team up and take over the world. So he does want, like, that
I think
throne.
It was just getting the One Piece, right? I'm not sure if he wants to take over the world necessarily. Said something
like, hold on, let me check.
I'm not sure. It's like, we're going to find the One Piece, I think they say. Because I reread that chapter. I think it was 99, I think. Or 98.
998? No, I'm talking like a little bit older. So...
Oh, okay.
I don't want to take too long searching for this. 950... What's the chapter right before it? The act break happens. Like 950...
Oh, 956.
56. No, I think that was the... Wait, I think I got it. Yeah, so 954. So that's when like him and Big Mom are like, you know, buddy, shoulder, shoulder. They're like Animal Kingdom pirates. I'm looking at the Viz translation. So the Animal Kingdom pirates.
The Animal Kingdom.
Dude, that still throws me up. Like, how do you... They do certain things, and I'm just like, it feels like you went out of
Right.
your way to do something wrong. You know what I mean? Like they sometimes just go out of their way to like to just do something a little off, and I'm just like, I don't get it.
The Animal Kingdom Pirates sounds like the lamest like crew of
No, it's
minks
crazy.
that like set up.
The Animal Kingdom Pirates and
It's
the
like-
Big Mom. Yeah, that's what the minks should be. So the Animal Kingdom Pirates and the Big Mom Pirates are going to be forming a pirate alliance. Once we've worked together to take over the world, then we can finish our fight to the death. So I don't know. Like I don't know if that's like his clear, definite intent, because it's kind of like, you know, it might just be part of the whole picture that he wants to do. But I would also like it if there's more to it. It's not just like, oh, I want to take over the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like one thing I feel like, and let me know if you feel the same way, one thing I definitely felt is that Oda has made Kaido very subtly very likable, despite all the shit he's done. At least for me, I felt like that was what he was going for, and it's working for me. Like I think, you know, like these small moments of honor that he has, like the samurai honor he almost has, and then, you know, like him and Luffy almost having that like Katakuri sort of relationship with each other, you know, where they're like grinning and like enjoying the fight.
Yeah, Kaido. I
And
think
the
Kaido
challenge.
might right now be my favorite villain in One Piece. I think it might be a little early, so I might have to sit on it and like think a little bit. But my previous favorite villain was Crocodile, and I don't know. I think just reading the dialogue from Kaido for the last like 6 chapters, like if you just go back and just read that dialogue, it's I don't know. It's a really interesting character. Really,
It's
yeah,
fantastic.
It's just I'm very happy every time Kaido's on the page at this point. Like it's just
I feel like the flashback with him and Yamato is probably like around the corner, and I'm gonna lean far out of the window, and like since I think that basically there's, compared to other flashbacks like with Odin, I feel like there's very low expectations because nobody has really an idea what Kaido's all about. Like I mean, there's theories around, but like I think no matter what direction Oda's gonna take this in, I don't think it's gonna disappoint.
I think that
Like I think he can go. Yeah, sorry. I just think he can go like a very straightforward version with it. Like, oh, there's nothing like super twisty about him, but he's just like this strong dude and like whatever has tragic. Like that would be fine. I would be super happy with that. And then if Oda makes it like even more interesting and weaves Kaido like somehow even more into the world building of the story, which I personally think he will, that would be great.
I definitely agree. I think that with Kaido, it's been hinted at that he's had a very long and arduous climb to the top. So I think that if once we get his flashback, we could get like a really good inside look into just the history of the One Piece world a little bit. Probably won't be that extensive of a flashback, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 1 chapter, 2 chapters max, because that's basically what I think that's like roughly what Big Mom got. I think she got 2.5 chapters ish, something like that. And like Oda's really saving space, so maybe Kaido will get like 1 chapter or something. But I don't know. I think it'd be really cool even if we just see him interacting with, just like seeing him interacting with like one of the admirals or something like that, or seeing him interact like he had to have been hunted, right? He had to have been captured at certain points. We know that. Seeing him interact with like Whitebeard at some point.
The other Yonkos, with Shanks,
dude,
maybe
that's something,
like that meeting with Shanks.
Oh, if we finally got that meeting with Shanks, that would be awesome. Even just what about the?
I would.
You're good.
Yeah, I would bet, by the way, that they didn't find. Like, I'm pretty sure that they just talked about something. Pretty sure. I would like just.
I hope 1 clash. I hope they got 1 clash in, and then they got
right. They were like bomb, and they were like, we got.
I think
talk.
that's.
It's like Shanks is like, I want to talk, and Kaido's like, no, and he's like, yeah.
It's just Yonko courtesy, you know. It's just Yonko courtesy. I think every time they meet, they gotta
have the sky split, and
then gotta have a little clash. I think that basically, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the other thing, the thing that I'm hoping for, but I know it's like a far-fetched thing, and maybe it doesn't fit right now. I'm hoping that maybe through the Kaido flashback, because Kaido's story, where does it really start? Kaido's story really starts at Rocks' death, right? That's where he got his fruit from Big Mom. That's where his journey as a solo pirate really began. We know that Kaido was like an apprentice on their ship, on the Rocks ship initially.
Yeah.
So to me, it sounds like Kaido's story should start with Rocks. So my hope is that, like, Oda can do it a couple ways. Like, he could just do it the straightforward, like, okay, we kind of get a montage thing. We don't really get to see Rocks or anything. We kind of get to pick up after Kaido left there and see his journey since then. Or this could be the moment that we get to see that Rocks flashback. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, what if we get to see a little bit of the Rocks pirates and everything like that through Kaido, and instead Oda's kind of using Kaido is the lens through which we get to see what happened with the Rocks pirates. Might be a little too much, but to hope for.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know.
I mean, I'll be up for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Also,
yeah, I wonder.
hey, do you think Yamato is Conqueror's Haki? Because
yeah, looks like it. Looks
think
like
she has
it.
advanced Conquerors?
Also,
I don't know.
That would be dope
Yeah,
though.
it would be dope.
I wouldn't mind. And also, like, another thing, like, from this chapter that had me really excited. Like, let's maybe get into the latest chapter a little bit, just because I think you said you were an ass convinced, but I just read it. I'm like hype. It really sounds like Yamato's going with Luffy, right? If she, like, given that she doesn't die or anything.
To me, it's okay. So I mean, like, maybe I'm just being contrarian to be contrarian, but like to me, it's like,
is it too obvious?
It's like almost like it's literally never happened before. I think that usually with the Straw Hats. But, I mean, Oda can always break his pattern, and if he just wants to make it obvious, then he makes it obvious. I've got nothing against Yamato joining. To me, it's just, like, really different the way it's happening here, because, like, usually with the Straw Hats, it's, like, there's, like, a bit of a process to bring them around to the idea of, like, you're going to be the Straw Hat, the next member. Like, usually it's a character that the arc is centered around. They go through a bit of an arc or change in some way or something and bond with Luffy over the course of it, and then the invitation is extended. But like this Yamato just showed up and was like, I'm joining your crew, and Luffy was like, God, all right.
I would,
so I don't know, like
I would argue though, maybe, and then maybe like that's wrong, but like I feel like she got that with Ace and we got that with Ace, and maybe just the fact that, like, you know, basically Luffy taking on Ace's responsibility there and like taking Yamato with, I don't know.
No, I get you. I'm
like
not saying that Yamato, I'm just not taking her at her word. You know what I mean? Like I'm like if you made me put money down on it, I would probably put the money on Yamato joining. You know what I mean? Like you say like one character
I just really
joined, I'd be like, okay, let's say it's Yamato. I'm not gonna bet against that, but
I just really want the comment section to be under every video. I want the comments to be like, well, Morj said that Yamato's definitely not joining.
Okay. I'll sneak peek. There's a video coming out Monday, maybe Tuesday. It's gonna basically be okay. I'm not gonna explain it all here, but I'm fucking confused about Yamato's entire purpose in this arc. Okay, not in a bad way. I don't dislike Yamato's character. I'm just trying to figure out Yamato's. Like what is she gonna roll? Like what is the?
I do.
You kind of get what I'm saying.
I do think we're gonna get that though. I totally get what you're saying, but I do think that we are definitely like.
Oh no, we're for
in
sure
general.
I
feel like Oda very. Yeah. But I totally agree. But I would say it's on purpose because I feel like same for Kaido. Honestly, like basically the first 2 acts of Wano before Onigashima, we basically didn't get to see Kaido. Like purposefully, Oda did not give us a ton of character development for him. And I think there's a lot about Kaido that we're learning now, like what we talked about earlier, but also like I think that flashback's gonna be I think that might be like 1 or 2 chapters. At least.
I'm very excited for Kaido. Kaido's flashback is the flashback that I'm like by far the most excited for right now.
It's gonna, and I think it's gonna put a lot of perspective on many of the things that are happening right now. And like on the arc in general.
He definitely became a lot like very, not that he was like a bad villain or anything like that before this, but it's just like he was a simpler villain before the rooftop interactions, and after the rooftop
he was also kind of invisible, I feel. Like purposefully, like very ungraspable.
Like he was just this looming scary demon threat off on the side of the island,
kind of intangible.
Like we'll meet him when we meet him.
Exactly. What else was in the chapter? I mean, the Zeus thing, I'm a big fan, but it's like I think that's been speculated for forever. So I think not really surprising, but I like the execution, and I do think that that's a power up that I'm very happy for.
Definitely happy about that, because it's like a little extra. Because before it was like, okay, Zeus gives her like really big lightning bolts, but now it's also like, homing lightning bolts. That's like a little extra bonus, basically. I definitely like this little boost.
Also, I really like that one scene because I'm just reading it right now again. It's like where she's like, Zeus, and he's
the
like,
cotton
not
thing.
anymore. I want a new name, Cotton, and he's like, nope, I don't think so.
That was definitely funny. Dude, the comedy's been good the last few chapters. Like, you remember the Zoro Saji did last
really
chapter? I really like that.
With the sword, that was
hilarious.
brilliant. Loved it.
That was like classic stuff.
In general, like, think in general, like, people don't give. I mean, I think most people were like, "Oh, finally, Sanji got like good moments with Queen." But I personally, I'm not sure we talked about this. I love, for me, like the thing with Black Maria, where I only found out later that the community absolutely hated. I thought that was brilliant. For me, that was like the entire payoff to the whole Cake Island arc. Like Sanji, basically. Oh,
I know what you're saying.
You didn't like it?
I know what you're saying. Like,
or did you like it? Right.
No, I'm not saying I didn't like it.
Or did you dislike it?
I'm not saying I didn't like it.
No, I'm just asking. I'm asking.
No, I thought it was okay. So where I was at, because I'm not particularly like what do you call? I'm not as I know a lot of people are very reactionary about the shit that Sanji gets. So for me, it was basically like I think I liked the moment in terms of what it was for his character. I didn't like or dislike the moment. I was like, I liked the moment for what it was for his character. At the same time, I'd been waiting a while for Sanji's badass moment, so like it's kind of like waiting and waiting. It's like, okay, this isn't the one. All right, we're gonna wait a little longer. You know what I mean? So it's not like I disliked the moment.
Right.
I liked the moment for what it was, but it was also like just funny a little bit that like everybody wants Sanji to have this big, this big badass moment for a while, and it's like, okay, even now it's not it. Like it's been like even at this point where he's
but I mean,
but it was just a little longer. It was just like now he got it. So like, who cares?
Right, he got it, and I feel like that was like not like I don't feel it was like Oda teasing it out or anything. I feel like that was like really important character development. Right, it was like this like Whole Cake Island was not about. I feel like that was why people were like so disappointed with Whole Cake Island. It was like, oh, it's Sanji's arc, and yet he didn't fuck up Big Mom or something, right? And he didn't get like a devil fruit and like unlock Conqueror's Haki. And I'm like, dude, that's literally like, this is not what this arc is about.
Also there's people saying that Sanji should get Conqueror's Haki now, and I'm just like, no, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't fit.
Do you want what? It would make zero sense, but it's like with Sanji's bounty after Whole Cake Island. I just want Oda to do it, like to fuck with people.
No,
like, I just want it, for no reason. No. Sanji just has Conqueror's Haki.
No.
That would be funny.
War.
I'd love that. I'd love that. That'd be so good. And it's just a bit better. It's like Kaido saying, "Black Leg Sanji, wow, you have even stronger Conqueror's Haki than Zoro."
If he literally says that. By the way, what did you think about? We have so much that we could talk about. Like, what did you think about the Zoro getting Conqueror's Haki bit?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's talk about that. One thing, if anyone's listening who's good at like copying the One Piece manga, I would pay money for someone illustrating Kaido saying that to Sanji.
Oh man, I could use that for a thumbnail.
And then I wanna put that on. Oh yeah, I wanna put that on Twitter also. Zoro getting Conqueror's Haki. I mean, I think we all wanted that. I know you made like at least one or two videos about that, right? Yeah, so I never made a video about that, because I'm just not that theory type of person. But like, I think we all wanted it, and Zoro needed it. I think. I think all the arguments are out on the table, but I'm really happy the way it went. I know, like, I'm not sure. I feel like, some people are just, I don't know what they want. I think like some people are just like, and I'm always, we talked about this before, I'm always sometimes not sure if people are actually serious about what they say, but I feel they are. It's even after like Zoro literally stood up and fought like side by side with Luffy against Kaido and against Big Mom, and like he took their blast and took that attack and then cut Kaido,
I know where you're going. Yeah.
unlock Conqueror's Haki. And then there were people who are like, wait, that was it? And I'm like, what do you mean that was it?
Dude, it's crazy because like those same people, if you had asked them 3 arcs ago, imagine it's like end of Dressrosa or something, like Luffy just beat Doflamingo, and we just got introduced to Kaido, right? Like back chapter 790, you know what I mean? 700, yeah, like Kaido was just introduced, we got all that world's strongest creature, all that hype, back when Kaido's hype was through the roof, like Kaido lands in front of Kid, and, those guys, Kid, Law, etc. No, not Law. You know what I mean, those guys. The Kid, Apu, etc., right? Imagine it was back then, and like you told a Zoro fan that, hey, Zoro is gonna block an attack from Kaido and Big Mom, and then Zoro is gonna give Kaido another scar. Like, you see that one scar he's got on his body? Zoro's gonna give him another scar. Back then, people would have gone nuts. They'd have been like so happy about it, right?
Yeah.
But then now we're in the arc, and like people are just like, it's so weird. Like, it's just like over time, like it builds into something new. It's like, oh, what if Zoro fights Kaido? Oh, what if Zoro scars Kaido? It's like, okay, Zoro has to be the one to kill Kaido, and like Luffy will just be in the corner.
And Big Mom.
And Big Mom. Yeah,
and
I don't know. I don't get
Luffy
it.
just walking out is like, well, I guess you're the main character now. So
Zoro becomes Pirate King. I literally don't get it. Some people are insane. Like, I don't get it.
You know what I think like in a way it's a bit like with everything nowadays. Like I don't want to like I mean that's a lie. I always love to bring politics and shit into these discussions.
Yeah, you do.
As you know. But I'm like it's a bit like with everything. Like people, I feel like even it's so funny to see that even with One Piece, people get like into these bubbles and like radicalize their views on shit. And I'm like, in a way it's funny until it's like not funny anymore.
Oh yeah, well, once it gets too big and it's a problem.
Yeah, once it gets too serious, so it's like flat Earth or something.
First it's like haha.
It's like
then it's like, oh wait.
It's really funny until you people really think that kind of. And then you already know there's gonna be this one comment in like the comment section like, fuck you, there's a lot of evidence for it. Well, anyway, going back to the topic, I really loved it. I think Zoro actually, me being Zoro being my favorite character, I think we got more for him than I even would have hoped he would have gotten. Yes. Even just him, I think already that moment where he was able to take that combined Yonko attack, even if that had been it, I would have been like,
dude,
damn,
that was shocking.
He's
strong. Was shocking. There's an argument for that being the best. I'm not gonna go this far. Never mind. I'll say it. Okay, there's an argument for that being the biggest attack in the series so far, and Zoro blocked it momentarily, but he blocked. Nobody would have thought that before this, you know? Before this, Jozu blocking Mihawk's random slash was a big deal. This was Kaido and Big Mom combined. I don't know.
Yeah.
People don't appreciate what they if you're a Zoro fan and that didn't do it for you, then I don't even know what to say. That was insane. And then I think Zoro looked the best out of all the rooftop people except for Luffy once Luffy unlocked his, you know.
I mean, see, that's one of the things. While I was also still doing my weekly chapter reviews, right? It was at some point, obviously we're gonna have to focus on Zoro, and then obviously we have to focus on Kid, because all of them are doing exceptional cool things. But in every single chapter, Luffy has been such a badass.
No.
Really, it's
Luffy's been insane. It's been dude, the chapter when he started using the chapter when he started using the Conquerors was cool. What really, really got me was, I think, the next chapter when Kaido started fighting back, and then they're just silent. It's just panels of them silently clashing Conquerors and Conquerors. That just felt unreal. It was. I don't know. It was just an unreal chapter. It's am I really seeing this? This is just happening.
Yeah. And to be fair, at that moment, I was not sure. It kind of felt oh, this might actually be it. I was is this gonna be the five? Yeah. And then Oda was nah. You know, there's still to work on it a bit. And I feel like that makes sense, because I feel that moment with Kinemon was fantastic. Even though it pains me that he didn't get to see his wife. But it was that character, Onigashima, was such a turnaround for Kinemon, which is fantastic. And then obviously Yamato and Kaido getting to fight is really important. And so who was the other? Oh, I also think that Momo and Kaido will need some sort of confrontation.
You're right.
Oh, would you? Because we can agree that Momo still has to he has to become the leader. He has to become the new Shogun, right?
Momo has,
at least
he's
in my
low key become. I think but I like Momo a lot now. I'll just say that I like Momo a lot now.
Same. I'm gonna ask you this. I also because I talked about that with JD also yesterday. So I was which I think was interesting, because he asked me, do you think Momo will unlock Conqueror's Haki? And I was my first thought that was no way. But then my second thought was, but he kind of has to become that leader, and he kind of needs that standoff with Kaido. So for me, the way I looked at it was more I could see him his dragon fruit maybe unlocking some of that power, and being it dragon versus dragon. And obviously, I'm not saying that Momo's gonna beat Kaido or anything, but I feel like there's gotta be a moment where he stands up to Kaido and like does something impressive.
I think you've I don't know how checked out of it you've been in terms of community theories, but
very, very checked out.
Have you heard the theory of Momo holding up Onigashima? Really? You haven't heard this one? This is by far my favorite theory going around right now. This is a great theory. All right, listen up. So
it's my theory actually.
Oh no!
Tips on that theory.
Okay, so the theory goes, Momo can create the flame clouds. Even CP0 was talking up like what a big deal Momo's dragon fruit is and everything like that. So Momo can create the flame clouds. Yeah. The theory is basically that Onigashima is going to be falling on the flower capital, and Momo will mirror Odin's act of, the way Odin boiled in the pot holding up the scabbards. Momo will mirror that essentially by flying under Onigashima and stopping the island from falling, at least for a while, by creating his own flame clouds, essentially. And I don't know, I think that just fits in a lot of ways. Okay, you give your thoughts in a second, but it fits in a lot of ways because one of Momo's big things has basically been, he has his fear of heights. He's like that's one of the big things holding him back. He's trying to live up to his father's legacy, essentially. So this would be recreating, essentially, visually, at least a lot of what Odin did, putting the fate of Wano on his back, sort of, just on a huge scale that everyone can see him, and like a really, really strong leadership figurehead moment for the people of Wano. And it puts his dragon fruit into play in that, like, CP0 keeps talking about the potential power of his dragon fruit. So I think it would be a lot of things coming together. I really, really like this theory. I think this is a very common one going around. So what are your thoughts on it?
I like it. I'm not. It's not crazy to the level where I'm like, oh yeah, that has to happen, damn. But like, I can see that. Like, I feel like that would be symbolically very nice, very fitting. And I don't think it necessarily clashes with the idea of like Momo standing up to Kaido.
No, I agree that there should be a Momo Kaido scene for sure. I definitely agree with that. It could be even.
I think the combo would be nice.
Yeah,
or afterwards, it would be nice. Like, I feel like the samurai, and like for Momo personally also, I feel like there has to be a moment where Kaido acknowledges Momo at least in some way for him, or is at least like taken aback.
I personally don't think that Momo will. Well, no, you finish your thoughts, sorry.
Oh yeah, so there might even be like, because I think the most likely candidate for Joy Boy right now is Momo, so I feel like that might even be something where Kaido is like, oh wait, are you Joy Boy?
Yeah,
maybe it's like, but like something where Momo gets like. Stands up, gets acknowledgement from Kaido and maybe from his men, from the samurai. But then, as you said, there might also have to be a moment where the citizens of Wano also, get to see some of his action and like basically are like, oh wow, like the Kozuki are back and they're literally protecting us, and like that might also be a powerful moment. So I don't dislike this theory.
Yeah, I mean, it can all work. I do think personally that I don't know if we will get to see, at least over the course of this raid, Momo being strong as a fighter, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's really what's being played up for him.
I don't mean that. I don't think so.
But confronting is
also when I say conquers Haki. Also when I say conquers Haki, like just when I thought about it, I don't mean like Luffy level conquers Haki. I mean more like, it's more like Luffy like at Marineford. It's more like having the small burst and then maybe like some of Kaido's men who tried to capture Momo or something being knocked out.
I mean, Ace used it as a kid. I think Doflamingo used it as a kid. So it's very, very, very reasonable. It just depends, because I also think that Zoro is going to get a Conqueror's Haki moment this arc. Like, because right now Zoro doesn't know he has Conqueror's Haki, right? So I'm expecting he can use it when he uses Ashura, but I'm definitely expecting like just a raw usage of it or an intentional usage of it. So I hope we get to see that for sure.
Oh, for sure. Also, one thing going back, because I actually thought about this when I did my Mihawk analysis. Do you think... Because I think, Mihawk already acknowledged Zoro at Baratie, just seeing his resolve, right? Where he was like, I'm not gonna step back and like pull that little knife out of my chest.
Yes.
Like, I don't... It's what it is. So that was the moment that Mihawk acknowledged Zoro, but then the moment where he actually, like, I think got interested in him was when he used, like, his 3,000 Worlds attack. So do you feel like that was also Conqueror's Haki and, like, Mihawk saw that at that point?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because Zoro has accidentally used Haki earlier than anyone expected him using Haki, right? Like, he's done that multiple times, like, with Armament, and I think even Observation, depending on how you interpret the Mr. One fight. But I don't know if that was it, because like to me it was more so the heart moment, like when he stabbed him in the heart.
See, the thing
that impressed me.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's this one panel when Zoro uses that attack where like you see Mihawk like with this like exclamation mark.
Oh, I kind of know what you mean.
You know
like
what
I can kind of visualize it right now.
Yeah, it's like them, like kind of like this moment of recognition, and I don't think it's because Mihawk. Yeah, you can look it up quickly. And I don't think that's because Mihawk is like, oh,
no, yeah, obviously, like... That's true. Like, there's no way that he's like, oh no. Dude, I think it's like,
but it's more like, oh, he can do something like this kind of moment.
True. So maybe he sensed underlying Conquerors or something like that. Like maybe I don't know if it was a Conqueror's attack, but you're right. There is an exclamation point with Mihawk, and he's definitely a little confused.
So I thought that was interesting. I thought about that.
I think,
and I feel like that might be also one of the reasons why Mihawk actually thought that out of all the people, like Zoro might be worthy of actually, you know, becoming his rival again or something.
Yeah, maybe. I think it was like the whole sequence of events makes sense for like impressing, because like he starts by saying your strength is not often seen in this world after the heart thing.
Yeah.
So I think that was when Mihawk realized that this guy is legit. Like there's something special about him. Then maybe this exclamation point, I'll leave it open to interpretation, ambiguous. Maybe Mihawk senses something like within that. And then on top of that, Zoro does the no scars on the back thing, right? So he turns it around to take it. So I think that was just like the cherry on top for Mihawk. And then he does the oath and everything. So like all of that basically just blows me up.
And then Luffy's like, I want to be Pirate King. And he's like, oh, these guys are interesting. Oh, also, okay, there's actually a bunch of things I want to talk about with you. Wait, what was the thing? I wanted to like switch topic to some things, but I forgot what I wanted to talk about. But like one thing I'm going to ask you is like, because I've been thinking like I did a video on Roger. That was my latest video that I did this week, right? And in the video, like what I thought about is, because we know that Roger actively was looking, you know, he was like, we're too early, we're not the ones to do this, there's someone else who has to come in like 20 years or whatever, right? Like he knew about a new Joy Boy coming, basically, right? Roger also. And so what I've been thinking, it's kind of suspicious that both Crocus is located by accident chilling at the entrance to the Grand Line, while Rayleigh is chilling on Sabaody all the time, which is the entrance to the New World, basically, into Fishman Island. And so I'm like, would be kind of interesting if Roger actually positioned these two there and was like, well, you guys check who's coming into the Grand Line here and see, like, you know,
if you got some,
if there's anyone. And like, it's because both Crocus and Rayleigh like compare Luffy to Roger, right? And then you have Shanks, who's just sailing around the world, entrusted with Roger's Straw Hat. And then he randomly sacrifices his arm for Luffy and randomly gives him the Straw Hat. It kind of sounds like Shanks might be like sailing around the world looking for the next Joy Boy or the next Roger.
Okay, so...
And he was...
No, keep finishing.
Yeah, so what's your thought on that? Yeah, and I was like, it would kind of make sense. Like, why would... Like, obviously he wouldn't be like, oh, this little kid is kind of interesting. I'm gonna like sacrifice my arm as a Yonko and then like give him the Straw Hat, like that the most notorious pirate in the world owned. It more feels like what Shanks actually said, like he sees Roger in Luffy and he's like, I bet my arm on the next generation, right? And so he literally went around the seas looking for the next Joy Boy, like looking for a potential candidate, saw Luffy, saw like he has the exact same qualities as Roger, and was like, okay, here's the hat, like that I basically just held on to while I was looking for someone. And you know, kind of like, because I feel like that would make sense in a way.
I 100% believe that makes sense. This was something I kind of have this theory, but I don't know if it makes sense. Like I kind of got to reread some stuff to see if it makes sense. But I wonder if like, because so Ace was also in East Blue, right? I wonder if Shanks believed that the person that was needed to fulfill whatever Roger needed to fulfill was like Roger's son, and he was actually in that area searching for Roger's son, and then found Luffy instead, and decided that this guy's the better bet. Like not believing that he's Roger's son, but running with something along those lines.
Yeah, it wasn't like, no, that's the guy.
Yeah, like this is going to be the next. This is going to be the one.
And I'm sure that like also we're gonna get more to Luffy's flashback at some point when we're gonna interact with Shanks again, because I'm very sure that Luffy did something in that time he was hanging out with. Like I feel like, I'm not sure if it has to be like Conqueror's Haki or something, but I'm sure that Luffy did more as a kid, where Shanks was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" Like this guy, like no, this is like this is the kind of like
Shanks also gets the exclamation point or something like.
Yeah, kind of like, and I mean, we also, as you said, like it was like not saying that Roger didn't love that girl. But we know that he probably tried to make the next Joy Boy, right? He was like,
oh no,
he was kind of like,
she was just a.
I mean, he was right, but I mean, dude, he like literally, he was like, oh, I'm not Joy Boy, we're too early. Like, he's gonna come in 20 years, he's gonna come, right? So he's like, oh wait, well, so Joey Boy needs to be of the D clan, right? He needs to be pretty strong to make it to the end. Well, I'm strong and I'm from the D clan, so I better spread some babies around.
That means that Roger just dude, that puts that whole story into such a worse light. It's just there's a word for that, right? Like a brood something? Like you're just like, I just
it's like
I just need a D to put my D in. Like
yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
It's like what's the guy in Boku no Hero, Endeavor?
Yeah.
Kinda
oh
like
my god, yeah,
he's
Roger's just Endeavor.
It's like, I want to make the perfect Joy Boy.
Dude, okay, at least he didn't go around like to multiple women trying to create but there's not that many D women, but so maybe he just worked with what he had. He just found one.
Also, did you see Joy Boy's theory that like Robin might be Roger's daughter?
No, I don't believe this theory already. Like, I just don't. Like,
well, just watch it. But basically, his idea is also that like Roger went around and like had multiple kids and stuff.
Wait, so is he saying that Olvia?
Yeah.
Okay. Because in my mind, I was just like, wait, so you're saying Robin's adopted? But no, okay, so I see what you're. No, I still just don't believe it. Although we don't know who Robin's dad is.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of that, also now that I thought about it, I don't remember who told me that, but apparently there's also something I never thought about. There's a theory out there that Nami's actually one of Big Mom's children.
What?
Which at first I was like, this is stupid, and my next thought was like, this is brilliant. I would love this actually.
Is there a good? Are there? I need some reasons. Okay, what are the reasons?
Yes. I don't
remember. I don't remember. Okay, great.
I remember it was a good theory though. I was like, I remember it would.
Now I gotta
like
look it up.
It made sense, but
Nami Big Mom.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I got that.
Nami
from.
Big Mom kid? Whose theory is it?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't remember where I got this from.
Man, maybe I hope it's not just Twitter. Oh, it's hard to find theories if they're just on Twitter.
There's something on Reddit here. Wait, is that it? I'm not sure I got it on Reddit though.
I only check Reddit now once the chapter comes out to just see if I missed anything.
Yeah.
No, I don't see anything. Nami Big Mom kid.
It would be fun.
No, but that would be pretty crazy. Nami's just Big Mom's kid. That would be because they've already got like a bit of a thing. they've got quite the rivalry going so far.
Yeah, and then you have the Zeus thing, and like her getting along with Lola and Chiffon, and all these things. Yeah,
I don't know. I think there's so many things. The one thing that I definitely buy, I'm pretty sure you've heard of this one. The Shanks being Zebek, Rocks' kid. You've heard this one, right? That's
I've heard this
I buy that one. I think that one makes a lot of sense and just adds another interesting there to Shanks' character. I think that's a really good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, in general, I'm curious if Shanks is gonna be really interesting once we get there.
Dude, it's crazy how much more One Piece there is to solve. Like, there's so much. It feels like we're near the end, but then you just think about how much is left, and it just feels like there's so much stuff. Also, yeah, go ahead.
Shit, I literally just forgot what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, we haven't talked in so long about One Piece, so like there's just like so many different things. It's like 6 months of chapters.
To catch up on.
Like we were just gonna talk about 1016, but there's so many chapters that we've missed.
There is a lot of chapters. Wait, what was it? Oh yeah. The thing I told you the other day, right? Where it was like I stumbled across this post on Twitter because I think someone tagged me. It's a pretty old post from like last year. Where someone asked Sandman, the guy who translated a lot of the Japanese stuff. Someone asked him like, "Hey, everyone in the community seems to believe that a traditional Kabuki act, or that a traditional Kabuki play has 5 acts. But I looked it up, and except for Wikipedia, it says everywhere, nowhere else does it say 5 acts." And then like the guy answered like, "Oh yeah, like traditional Kabuki plays can have between like usually have 3 to 4 and sometimes up to 9 acts. And I'm like, if Wano doesn't have 5 acts and like basically all the like all the theories go down the drain, that would be the funniest shit.
Listen,
ever.
I'm looking at Wikipedia. That's all I've got to say. I'm looking at Wikipedia.
It's only on Wikipedia.
No,
though.
there's other things. Okay, I'm also looking at this site about theater history, acting for the young people, and it says it's got 5. Looking at what is this film? Okay, this site says it's suspicious, so I'm not allowed to go there. Look, all I'm saying is if I look up Kabuki play structure, everything says 5 that I'm looking at, but I also don't know as much as Sandman, so I don't know. I would be very upset if it's 3,
sure.
But it could be 3. Maybe it just ends here.
Wait, let me look it up in Japanese.
Oh my god, Japanese Wikipedia is gonna have the real answer.
Oh, this might take a while though. So many.
Oh yeah, because you gotta read slowly.
Wait, this page, I can't access Japanese Wikipedia when my VPN is on. That is interesting.
Forgot that you've got to use a VPN over there. Makes sense.
I mean, not for everything, but I just have usually have a US VPN.
I swear for a while we were like trying to hide the fact that you were in Japan for some reason. Do you remember this? Like there was a period in the Wano Report where you were in Japan, but we were keeping it a secret.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like it's just a secret.
I don't remember either. I feel like I had a reason.
We can't let them know that I'm in Japan.
I feel like I had a reason for that. I'm not sure what it was.
Otherwise they'll track me down.
Maybe.
Oh, do we want to do any questions? You know, we normally do the question answers, but I totally forgot about that. Okay.
Next time.
I think that is a next time thing. We've talked about a lot so far.
By the way, do you want to because we talked about this last time, if you want we can actually put this up. We don't have to over edit it, so we might actually just put it up today if you want to, if you're still up for that, and have it as a chapter review.
Yeah, I'm down to put it up. Did the chapter come out today? It did come out today. Yeah, my god, it's been such a long day.
So that might be great time.
No, I'm down to put it up.
And then people will be like, Ohara, aren't you doing the official? And I'm like, joke's on you, I'm not doing any chapter review. So I'm scrolling through it. Even though by now my kanji and my reading skills are pretty high in Japanese, just looking at so many kanji gives me headache.
Yeah.
That's a very long Wikipedia article. Blah 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 blah.
Just look for the number 5.
Well,
you see the number 5? For the number 5 or 3. I guess you can look for the number 3, but mostly look for 5 if you can.
Let me see. Is there anything else you want? You can think about what you want to talk about, because I feel like there were another one or two things that I definitely wanted to touch upon.
In a podcast, you should keep topics going. I shouldn't just be. I'm looking at Reddit right now while you're. I'm like, okay, Ohara's looking through this kanji. Here, let me bring up a topic. So I like talking about future matchups. If we assume that this is the final battle, I like the idea of next matchups. I think Sanji versus Queen is pretty much set. But then on the flip side, I think the big question mark is Zoro. I think everybody else has kind of lined themselves up pretty neatly, so I think Zoro's who's left. What? You had a brain blast? Because
you made me remember what I wanted to talk about earlier.
Was it Zoro?
Because no, it was in general, because I feel the Straw Hats are all pretty much. I mean, even Luffy's gonna come back, right, and he's gonna beat Kaido, but he's in pretty bad shape. Zoro's in pretty bad shape. By the way, Usopp was also brilliant these last few chapters. Also, shout out to him, because I absolutely loved Usopp, what he did. But my thought is, because for the longest time it was Wano's gonna be we're gonna have this initial brawl, and then the Marines are gonna come in, and then Blackbeard's gonna come in, and then the Empire Strikes Back, and everyone's coming in.
Yeah.
It's the Jedi come, and I'm At the beginning, I was it would be kind of cool to have this gigantuous war break out, but for me, it's already on a pretty large scale, and I feel it would be almost a bit of a waste to now bring in more forces when both sides are already so drained. It would make more sense if it's how we got CP0 again this chapter, and it's if the world government does a move because both sides are basically taking each other out. I would see that, because that would make sense, but just bringing in more fighters just for the sake of it would for me kind of be a bit pointless, especially when the Straw Hats can basically not do anything about it, but would have to rely on like more allies on their side.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, well, okay, so where I'm at on that is basically, if this is the final battle, and I always, like, have to give that as my, like, qualifier. Like, if this is, like, if they're just gonna win here on Onigashima during this battle, I definitely do not want more characters joining the fray. It's just enough, like, it's just enough. Like, we've got a good setup at the moment, if this is the final battle, where, you know, the matchups are there. It would just be adding more chaos for the sake of adding more chaos. And, like, I think that the big thing is that I think that for every for every like big One Piece arc like this, like where everything goes down, like in Enies Lobby, like in Alabasta, sort of like a Dressrosa, stuff like Oda really cares about having that big celebratory feast at the end. So like everything, like the country is saved, clean slate, took care of all the bad guys. We'll get some outside world building and stuff, and maybe there's more trouble over the horizon. But the big battle has been won, and everybody's happy and satisfied. Oda really, really likes that, so I really don't think that, like, it wouldn't be a case where, like, you know, Kaido and the Beast Pirates are going down, but the Marines are also joining in, and suddenly becomes really messy, and then the Straw Hats have to, like, run away from the country or something. I don't imagine that happening. Flip side is, if this isn't, like, if it really is a 5-act structure, and there is a longer war that's going to be drawn out, and more, like, they're not going to win right here, the raid is going to fail, right? Then I do think that it would be a good time for outside forces to arrive to kind of create at least a distraction during Act 4 before Act 5 can resolve the main conflict. So that's the two ways I kind of see it. But obviously the first way is more likely at the moment, because it does look like...
Yeah, I feel like that would make more sense. Oh, there we go. Acts.
You found it?
Okay, I finally found
it. All
it.
right, please tell me there's 5. Yeah.
Wait.
I'll take 9.
I'm gonna just show
I'd rather see 9 than 3. All right, let's look. You're gonna share it?
Show you like what this Wikipedia, because yeah, I mean I can read this, but like just to show you like that it gives me a headache.
Oh well, I can't understand this. You can understand all this, right?
Yeah, well, all this I would like not lean that far out the window. It's like a lot of like cultural vocabulary.
Why does it show the curtains on the side? You know what I mean?
That's just like, oh, this is the color schemes of like different Kabuki.
Oh, what color scheme? Never mind. Not important.
The lower, this one?
I think we saw that at the start of Wano, right?
This one?
Not that one, the green one.
This one, yeah. This is the curtain color, yeah.
You guys don't know what we're talking about right now, but
yeah, I mean the green one. Yeah, that's the one that's used.
Okay, what?
Oh, I'm basically showing Morj the Japanese Wikipedia article for...
And what's interesting is like even the color scheme. You guys know the color scheme of the curtains that open up at the start of Wano. So what we're seeing here is that it's the same color scheme as traditional Kabuki plays. So Oda's playing it real traditional in a lot of ways. In the meantime, I'll talk about another topic as Ohara looks for the number 5 and hopefully doesn't see the number 3. Oh wait, yeah, no, we had the topic. Yeah, you think Zoro's gonna fight King? Is that the matchup you were predicting? If I had to guess one, I'm running with King.
I don't. Is Zoro coming back soon? You think?
I do think that Zoro's gonna get a fight because I just think it's.
I mean, he had a fight.
No, he definitely had a fight. How do I say this? I guess I don't know. I feel like Zoro's gonna get a 1-on-1. I know he's in bad shape right now, but my guess.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
No,
you think he's gonna pump back?
I think that. So the way I see it is, Marco's been doing a stellar job, obviously holding off those the 2 commanders, but he was clearly tired the last time we saw him. My thought is that if he uses the last of his energy to just heal Zoro, using, you know, Phoenix magic healing ability or whatever, and kind of tags out, then that would allow Zoro to go into his place to take on King.
There you go.
Basically.
So, yeah, I feel like that makes sense. I mean, it would be cool if Sanji fought both of them, but I think it's more realistic.
It would be crazy if Sanji fought both of them.
Yeah, here you go. Kabuki official.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Give
it to me straight.
One play consists of 3 to 4 acts.
3 to 4 acts? No. Why don't we look at the English Wikipedia? I think that one's more accurate, in my opinion.
I do think so as well. I do agree. Wait, what does it say here? Blah, blah, blah.
Traditional Kabuki is 5 acts.
What was that?
Can you search for the kanji for 5?
Yeah. Here, blah, 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 blah. Kabuki. 一部が1から3泊。
Oh my god, your voice changed.
3幕。
Oh no, for the people, Ohara speaking in Japanese sounds very different than Ohara speaking in English.
It does. Okay, so there's different types of kabuki play apparently. There's even short kabuki plays that have 1 to 3 acts. And then the traditional ones 3 to 4 blah blah blah. Okay, so that seems to be the
3 to 4.
Oh, and then there's also longer. So that's what I was saying. There's also longer ones. So then there's ones that have a break, where it's basically like you have acts 1 to. You have up to. Oh no, never mind. So you have 1 to 3 acts before the break, and then you have 3 to 4 acts after the break.
That's probably not happening. But what about the Joe Haki structure?
Or there's gonna be. Who knows that maybe there's a time skip in Wano.
Oh my god, that would be. That would be a lot. So I would say that
well,
it sounds as though
just
the 5-act thing is not necessarily correct. But
it's not fixed.
I also don't think
4 might be maybe more realistic.
It does seem like okay. So from what I'm looking at, basically for a long while it was 5 acts. Then it started being abandoned for 3 to 4 act play structure. But I might be looking again. I'm looking at English Wikipedia stuff, which is just not going to have the same information. Towards the start of the arc, I did look up some Kabuki plays, like just to see what the full structure was, and those did have 5 acts, but that might not be representative of the whole. And I don't actually know who started the idea that, I guess aside from like English Wikipedia, who started the idea that it's like...
Yeah, I think it was probably, it's definitely going to be 5 was definitely, like, I think the fact that like everyone think it's fixed 5 acts is probably based on Wikipedia, English Wikipedia.
Well, you know, I trust Wikipedia. I get most of my information from Wikipedia, so I'll just keep putting my faith in that.
Fair enough.
You had another thing you wanted to.
Nice. Okay.
Another thing you wanted to talk about. You want to do one more juicy topic?
Yes, you can.
Oh no,
I ran out of juicy topics.
I don't know another juicy topic. There's so much stuff.
You do 2 videos a week.
One of those is one of those is a chapter review, and the other one I have to scrape the bottom of my brain to figure out. Oh no. Let me see.
We're gonna edit.
No, yeah, we'll edit that out, guys. I have an endless trove of content just flowing through my mind.
The endless pod.
No, I'm serious. Like a lot of I do have a lot of content ideas. It's just like picking and choosing which ones are the most doable at a given time. That's not a joke. I swear. That's not a joke.
No need to justify yourself.
I'm serious.
The train already left.
Don't unsubscribe. If you have to unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. Morj. Morj is running on the edge of his teeth.
You have to unsubscribe from the Wano Report. Stay subscribed to me. I think we've talked about the Straw Hats, we talked about Yamato, we've talked about Momonosuke, we talked about Kaido, we talked about Luffy to a degree.
Okay, I have a topic.
Boy, I'm so excited. What is it?
And I'm gonna steal it from JD. I hope he doesn't watch this, because like he like we talked about a lot of things yesterday, and I also think that was a great question. So I'm gonna steal that and ask you. Do you think Luffy can be Joy Boy? Do you think that would be bad writing, like in Naruto, if Luffy were Joy Boy, the child of destiny? And 2, do you think he is Joy Boy?
Okay, that's a really good question. Thank God we're stealing it from JD. So,
yeah.
Thanks JD. All right. So, first part of it, right? Do you think this is a really good question? Fuck. Okay. I think that the Naruto situation. Okay, one thing that really bothered me about the Naruto situation, right, was that Naruto was a literal reincarnation. We need to stay away, in my mind, from literal reincarnations. I think that's just so yes. It's just awful. It's just awful. Like literal reincarnation, it takes away from the entire idea of what inherited will means, right? Because inherited will, the idea, like, as soon as you step into reincarnation, you're stepping into something that's no longer applicable to real life messages or real life ideas or real life philosophy, right? Like now you're in magic. Inherited will is a beautiful concept because it's something that can apply to you can view the world in that sense. You can view your own life in that sense. You can view your dynamic with people that you care about. people that you've learned from, people that you're going to pass things on to. So inherited will is a beautiful concept. Reincarnation is a terrible concept for a story like One Piece. So, long answer short.
I would also just to throw it in also quickly to interrupt you. I also think that plus the fact that in Naruto basically there was like literally zero foreshadowing for any of this ever happening or going on. It's just
they didn't even mention that.
Hey, it's Ninja War, and it's like, this is the big baddie, but actually it was this dude, but actually it was this girl.
My God, it was Hey, wait, you've seen It
was basically
you've seen Rick and Morty, right?
Yeah, but it's basically like what's the name? Kishimoto? Is that
there was a GIF I saw of the Meeseeks. They're doing that thing of like, well, he roped me into this. Well, that guy over there, he roped me into this. I saw one where they took Naruto's endgame villains and just put them over the faces of the Meeseeks. So it's like Sasuke's pointing at Orochimaru, and Orochimaru's pointing at like Pain, and Pain's pointing at like Madara. I forget what the full order was. No, Toby, and then Toby's pointing at Madara, and Madara's pointing at Zetsu, and Zetsu's pointing at Kaguya. And it was just like, yeah.
And that was the best part. At the end, the guy, it's a Kishimoto, right?
Yeah.
That's the author, right?
Yes.
At the end, he was basically like that meme from History Channel where it's just like aliens.
No, I don't like laughing at.
But what if
I don't like laughing at Naruto. I used to like laughing at Naruto a lot. Now I guess I still do, but I feel bad about it afterwards. So that's. Listen, the reason I don't like laughing at Naruto is because they had their series go to shit, and that must really hurt when you care a lot about your series. Like, I would feel really sad if like One Piece suddenly went so downhill that like everyone started making fun of it. So I no longer and it just became a meme, and that's just the way it went. So I try no longer to laugh at Naruto's terrible ending and terrible series of final bosses. But at least it's not Bleach, you know? At least it's not Bleach. Bleach's ending was the worst ending of all time.
It's like, I'm gonna stick on this for 1 second. I don't understand, like, out of all the ways you could have, like, this was the first half of Naruto before Shippuden was such fantastic world building. It was like a really interesting society and like great mix of like modern and traditional things and so on. And then like you throw all of that out the window, you're basically just like, but what if aliens did everything? It's like, it's literally like, did that dude get lost on YouTube on the road? It's like,
dude, that's what happens because the author did not plan a lot of the things, and that's not me making that up. That's something that Kishimoto is very open about. Like Itachi and Itachi's actual relationship, like the reason Itachi did whatever he did to Sasuke, Kishimoto did not plan that out initially. Sasuke wasn't even a character that was planned initially. Like, there's so many aspects of Naruto that are, he came up with off the cuff. And you can do that really well for a little bit of time, like he did with the first part of Naruto, and then it's going to catch up with you when you have to keep making shit up.
But see, like, and I mean, I talk a lot about writing. Like, my whole entire channel is basically about writing, right? And, like, you do a lot of that stuff as well. Like, that shows you, because people always laugh, and they're like, oh, no way. Like people on the internet are like, he planned everything, and then like what the author actually meant, and people make fun of that. But like, I think people generally underestimate that good writers plan out everything. And you can see that in One Piece. Is like Arlong Park, right? Like that became a master. Like that arc was great in itself, and it became even better 10 years later when we got Fishman Island, and suddenly like Arlong became like one of the most fantastic villains of the entire series suddenly, because like. And, like, that was planned. Like, Oda, like, that entire arc was planned right from the start with the Fishmen. And it's like, if everything in your story logically ties together before you know beforehand what's going to happen and how things are related to each other, then you can't help but write a cohesive story. Like, you're basically you're creating the characters and letting the characters play on their stage. While if you make ass pulls, as you say, if you're a good writer, as, like, Kishimoto undoubtedly is, like, you can make that work for some time, but at some point it just breaks down because you run into so many inconsistencies.
Yeah, you can be a great writer but not a great architect. Oda is both, and like that's the big. I've said it before, but I think out of all the stories that I have read, One Piece is like, in terms of its long-term constructed story, it's like there's nothing close that I have read in terms of the long-term constructed story, how well thought out it is, how many like plot threads tie into each other and then build on each other into something bigger and more ambitious. I don't know. And while all being logically consistent and actually adding more layers to what was already written. So I don't know. I've never read anything like One Piece like that. But that's not to say I don't like just like small individual aspects of it. But,
no,
like,
of course not. Of course not. I just feel like that's important because like people love throwing around, oh, greatest of all time, and there's nothing better like, and the best, and like
depends what you value.
I understand. Yeah, no, it does, but I feel like genuinely there is a reason why One Piece runs for so long and is so beloved, because it does things like genuinely Oda is not better than any other author, but he's like definitely top tier, right? And that makes a difference. And it's a difference in One Piece, small things like the counter, like the reverse thing of that, the downside of that is that small things suddenly stand out, like Haki, for example, that wasn't as planned out from the start. You suddenly run into some inconsistencies there, and that's like people immediately jump on that. It's like, oh, but like why didn't A, B, C, and F, and why didn't he use it there? And it's like that's basically like such a small thing that happens all the time in other stories, but in One Piece it kind of sticks out because like otherwise everything else works so perfectly.
It's almost like it's like you because it all fits so well together, you notice a little more when something's sticking out a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's funny. How did we get to this? We got to this somehow. You had a good... Oh, the Joy Boy. Let's finish up that question at least. So, dude, I think that with Luffy being Joy Boy... So, as long as it's not reincarnation, I am okay with... If Joy Boy just means the person who is going to fulfill the will of D, something along those lines, then we all thought Luffy would do that anyway, right? Before there was a title involved or anything like that, we all thought that Luffy was going to be the one who does bring an end to, you know, the world government's reign, or at least the Celestial Dragon's reign, who does essentially fulfill whatever the will of D is. So it shouldn't throw anybody off, in my opinion, if now there's just a title attached to that person. Like, they're all waiting for the person who will do that, and that person is Joy Boy. Like, that person gets the title of Joy Boy. So I'm on board with that. And I think the second part of the question was, can Luffy be Joy Boy?
Now, do you think he is?
I think... Okay, so the tricky part is when it gets into Chosen One type stuff in terms of... It doesn't have to be reincarnation, but, like, prophecies and things like that. Like, the Sea Kings are waiting for their ruler or something like... Like, if it was destined from the moment that Luffy was born, that Luffy would fulfill the destiny... Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, there's a difference in my mind between, like, oh, everyone is waiting for someone to fulfill the will of D, and Luffy happens to be the person who will fulfill that role, versus Luffy was born... From the moment he was born, he was destined to fulfill the will of D. If that's the case, I would really, really not like it. That's basically the way I look at it. Unless Oda comes up with a twist on it.
I would. The way I look at it is, my headcanon for that is more of the sense that there are certain requirements that come with becoming Joy Boy, which is like being a member of the D clan, probably, I would say. Maybe. It doesn't have to be.
It sounds right. Yeah.
Could be a condition. A second condition could be Conqueror's Haki, because I feel like Kaido was really hyped up about Luffy suddenly for some reason, and he keeps pointing out that people shouldn't have so much Conqueror's Haki. Like, he's been really obsessed with that, and he's like, oh, looks like you couldn't be Joy Boy either. And I feel like what that line also kind of suggests is that, like, Joy Boy might just be something that maybe every member of the D clan has the potential to become. Basically, it's kind of like, I'm a D, so I have the potential, like, everyone has the potential to be Joy Boy, but then, like, not everyone actually becomes Joy Boy.
I would be on board with that.
Yeah. And then I feel like, I mean, there's also an argument for Momo, though, and I personally also wouldn't dislike the fact if Luffy, just like Roger, was just, like, a bit of an anomaly that, like, you know, with the voices of all things, like, Momo is the one who's supposed to communicate with Zunisha, and Shirahoshi is the one who's supposed to communicate with the Sea Kings, and Luffy's kind of like this anomaly, like Roger, like kind of like zapping into that, even though he has no place there, kind of like. So I think that would be really cool if that. Like, you know, Momo would be Joy Boy, and Momo would, like, I think he does have a lot of endgame implications, you know, but at the same time, Luffy is like this, like, that would also be a powerful message. Like, either way, if Luffy were Joy Boy, that would be great. If Luffy were not Joy Boy, and like Joy Boy kind of like fails, but Luffy, who is not bound by anything, kind of finishes the job, kind of, and does what no one has done before, that would also be cool.
No, that would be really good.
At the same time, At the same time, though, there would like be little meaning in Luffy having the D initial then, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe it might be a mix of those factors, something like that. Like I'd be on, like maybe it still requires a D to do certain things or whatever, but you don't have to be the chosen one to do it necessarily. So I don't know, but
D chosen one.
Luffy D chosen one. What a chosen hero. So I don't know, dude. I think that the Joy Boy questions are really juicy. I feel like we might get a little more insight once we get Kaido's flashback. So, dude, I mean, so much is waiting. There's just so much more. You know how many questions Wano still has? Like, I was talking about in my review earlier today. We still don't know what Onigashima is. We still don't know why Wano itself is special. We don't even know why it's shaped the way it is. We don't know why Toki came from the Void Century to do this. We still don't know who that person was that was helping the Scabbards, whether it was Hiyori or Toki. We still don't know anything about Joy Boy. We don't know about the Roger flashback and stuff. Like, these are all things that I kind of expect to happen in the Wano arc, except maybe for the Rocks flashback. But, like, the rest of it I expect us to get answers for. There's so much stuff left. I don't even know. Maybe it's 3 acts, but these will be a long 3 acts. That's all I'll say. This 3rd act is going to take forever then.
I mean, yeah. Let's push all of that stuff to the next Wano report. But also, like, the entire thing with Ima and, like... Because, yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this before, but, like, throwing in that random end boss type of character without, like, any context. I feel like that would be a shame if Oda just, like, threw that in as a decoy. I think it would be, like... And I mean, but if Oda decides to actually build that up as, like, a really cool character and as a really cool endgame character, that would also take time and effort. So, yeah. Okay, I think this is a good point to call this a day. And, I will edit this right away and send it to you and let you upload it if you have the willingness.
Yeah, sounds good. Wait, did we already sign off? Hold on. What's the time?
No,
we did not sign off. All right.
This is
go go subscribe to this channel and to our channels.
Yes. All the the massive amount of people who will have this in their random recommended.
Oh my god, I hope so.
List, because this video will go absolutely viral. I'm very convinced. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do so, please. Okay.